Our next storyteller, Zoe Meraz, is new to our stage. She has a story about the time she went biking under the hot sun just to see the moonrise, and then she starts having second thoughts. Here's Zoe with Delirious, Tremors.
So for those of you that have never been to northern Nevada, it's incredible. A trek as short as 12 miles can take you from the heart of an alpine forest to the depths of, your picturesque desert, tumbleweeds included. We have these looming mountain ranges that line the entire western wall of the state. We have endless plateaus that wander you west to east, soaring predators, burrowing critters, wild horses, the legacy of the Wild West. And of course, what you all probably thought of first when you heard Nevada: casinos, brothels, divorces, and all-nighters. Yet these dated stereotypes are included in my love for Nevada because it's all part of what makes Nevada so raw. It's got scars, and it's got scrapes, and it's got stories. And my closest friends share this sentiment. And so a few years ago, we decided to show our appreciation for Nevada and in the form of a bike ride. And so we went from, the heart of downtown Reno up north to Pyramid Lake. And we made plans to leave shortly after dawn because it was the middle of summer. And for you Californians, Nevada gets really hot in the summer. There's public health advisories, cautioning you to not walk home until dusk, kind of hot. And you'd think after all my summers growing up in that kind of environment that I would have been more prepared for this bike ride. So it's the morning of the bike ride, and all my friends, we meet up at the spot, and I'm quickly embarrassed to realize that I'm the only one in full biking attire. I have bike shorts and sweatproof tank top and athletic shoes, and my friends are all in torn, ripped up jeans and the same dirty t-shirts they were wearing the night before. But luckily no one said anything about how lame I looked. So we took off, and about 35 miles and 3 hours later, we start to peek over this hill. And every time your eyes peek over this hill, no matter if you're biking or if you're driving, you have to wonder if you're hallucinating, because all of a sudden in front of you, there's this massive, majestic lake just in the middle of the desert. And I remember, being caught off guard that my breath was heavy because my brain had shut off for a little while in awe of what was in front of me. And so we all start to crest down this hill, looking for any semblance of shade that can be hiding on the shoreline. And it really is in the middle of nowhere. There's no trees or crevices to find shade. But luckily there was this huge, massive boulder, and behind that was maybe 20 square feet of shade. And so very content with ourselves, we plopped down to enjoy our big books and our small talk and wait for the full moon to rise that evening. And not too long into this day, I already have to start rationing my water because I'm getting very dizzy. And I didn't want to admit to any of my friends that I'd come very unprepared. But there was only so much waiting I could do, and so I eventually asked a friend of mine who came very prepared if I could take sips of water here and there. And I still didn't take what would have been a very healthy and wise decision. The next 3 days would find me on the couch, home alone, alternating from these manic hallucinations to fevered nightmares to cold sweats. I couldn't keep anything down. I didn't have any appetite anyways. And I found out what sun poisoning is, and it's the most sick I've ever been to this day. I even lost my voice completely for 3 days. And so for those of you that haven't had sun poisoning, I hope you never do, because it is miserable. Yet had I known that that's where I would have ended up after that bike ride, I still would have gone. I would have packed a lot more water, mind you, but I still would have gone, because that evening at Pyramid Lake turns out would haunt me forever. And so back to the evening of the bike ride, the sun is finally about to set, And from my vantage point, I could see both ends of the lake's mountain ranges that line the edges. And in my impatience, watching the sunset, just waiting for it to go away, I almost miss the entire show that I came for, because at the other end, at the other mountain range, the moon is starting to rise, and it was this ivory orb that's been in legends and stories forever, and it was like watching this cosmic snake charmer. We were all in this trance watching it enter its domain, and it was almost like it was pushing the sun back into its basket as well. And the pace of the moon rising matched the pace of the sun setting just perfectly, better than the world's best dancers could do. And while I'm watching this all happen, the craziest pinks and blues are going on, colors that I never could have thought of are just filling in the landscape. And it's almost like this blanket is being woven around us, and it's like we're being woven into these threads of everything, into the pattern of everything. And the word haunted can be described as, or defined as, disturbingly present. And so in this moment, I'm so overwhelmed by my presence and by the presence of my friends and the presence of my surroundings. But I'm overwhelmed in the way that a baby is overwhelmed by a swaddle, or a rosebud is overwhelmed by its bloom. And instead of feeling like a spectator to this performance, I instead felt like part of this grand ensemble. And so instead of this story being about a potentially life-threatening bike ride, I'm instead haunted forever and reminded to be disturbingly present, because how can you be anything less? Thanks.